welcome back to the SPL. Finch here, joined by Anatoly as we go into the last set of the day. And we've already had some very exciting results. 2-1 from Dig, and the match we saw earlier today. Just now, Energy dropping to Obey, and now we're going into Mouse up against SK.
Very surprising results, honestly, between Dig and Tuss and Rival going the distance. Almost a 3-hour set in that one. In the previous set of Energy going up toe-to-toe with Obey Alliance, the kryptonite of Energy, despite a 5-set winning streak, falls victim to Obey Alliance, tying them completely at 5-3 apiece with a +4 ratio.
And the top end of the standings right now are just a clump. It's hard to tell who's going to come out of those. On the other side, though, we've got Mouse and SK, a pretty significant gap between those top teams and Mouse SK. But these two teams absolutely still have something to fight for here right now, as 0-6 and 1-5 for Mouse right now, trying to decide where these two teams end up once they make it to the placement stage.
So, funny fact is, mousesports can still qualify to the top 2 if both Obey and Energy continue to lose out and mousesports wins out. And that would be quite a sight to see. Unlikely, but possible.
It would certainly be a sight to see, Totally. I'd be right there with you saying, wow, can't believe it happened. Let's see if the Mouse boys can get it done. It would start right here, right now, though, with this setup against SK if they want to climb up that path and try and make their way there. It's not going to be very easy for them, and it's got to start with a win here up against SK. It's a tough matchup either way, but these two teams are very familiar with each other.
SK Gaming trying to find their first set victory thus far in the fall split of Season 5. They've been struggling as of late, and I'm not honestly sure if it's a specific player or if it's the chemistry, because they just can't make it happen currently. And mousesports, you know, they try to really rely on their dual laner, specifically Funballer, that has a lot of aggression behind him.
Yeah, Funballer is so experienced in that hunter role, so he absolutely can put on those highlight reel plays like the ones we're looking at here now. But it's tough sometimes to find the best plays from this SK roster. They haven't been able to jive yet as a team, I don't think. They haven't been able to completely get all 5 of those pieces working together as a cohesive unit. It's not very easy when you're against this kind of stacked region like they are in Europe, but they haven't been able to quite find it yet.
Mouse has been looking really spicy ever since a little bit of the roster switch-ups now. Dardez going away from his traditional kind of style and trying to figure out about mousesports is how they can transition it to week number 5 and Sticks.
Yeah, that's right. They had a bit of a change-up. Dardez going to be huntering now for them instead. They've kind of had some swap-arounds. Cherryo going to be in the support for them as well. They still got BigManTingz doing some work for them too, so we'll see if they can make this roster change-up work for them. I mean, it kind of makes some sense on paper, right? So often, Dardez is kind of the one making their big plays for them anyway, so put him in the role that's designed to do that. But it's just a lot of swap-ups that's coming from them. So even if I think it might make them better long-term, it's just not easy to get results right away.
I agree. I think that the short-term, this is not a decision being made short-term, because you need Dardez in that front line to allow BigManTingz to do BigManTingz. But at the end of the day, they're thinking more long-term. They know the mechanical prowess behind Dardez, and that's what they're concentrating on.
Well, they're going to see if they can make it happen here in their game up against SK. Picks and bans for game number 1 about to get underway. Mouse going to be your first pick selection. And Totally, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that it will be weird, as Mouse very often do not draft the normal things that everyone else draft, and I expect that to be the case here.
It's possible. We'll see as it progresses. Knowing SK Gaming, they like the Honor a lot recently. Onto Lawbster, they have played it before from time to time. And knowing Funballer, that could also be a flex pick. He's been aggressive in the dual lane. So if anything, I'm expecting an on her from SK.
Let's see if that's where they want to go as Faeles gets banned. We've not seen much of her throughout the day, really at all. Not been heavily prioritized, but Mouse want to take that one off the board and away from SK. And they'll be selecting the Chernobog for themselves. Nope, not too big of a surprise. And certainly could still go into the mid lane too and be paired with an on-her and duo.
It's very possible. We've seen it from time to time. We've seen some junglers even bring that Chernobog jungle. You know, we're not going to talk about that later. But anyway, it's going to be a Ram now for SK, which means that Funballer is probably going to be leaning towards that. And still not surprised to not see the on-her, considering this Athena global pressure is a requirement.
That's a great first 2 picks coming through for SK, especially with Freya, Baron already banned off the table. Grab the Athena ROM, get Funballer on something comfortable, get the big global presence from the Athena and those taunt setups, put yourselves in a good spot. But Mouse make a pretty strong answer back with the Amaterasu and a Hebo early on.
A lot of damage on the side of Mouse, honestly, between the Habwa, the Amaterasu mobility. How are you even going to get away from them and catch them? Because you got to worry about the water carpet from Habwa. And you got to worry about the Amaterasu passive, which gives your team 25% extra movement speed at max range.
Seems good. we'll see if Mouse can make the most of it as they're going up against the Agni. Going to be in the middle lane for SK. Papa Lob, I imagine, going to be the one that's piloting that one. Adds another nice element of control and very strong damage as well. And this is the kind of thing that maybe could punish this Hebo, because Hebo kind of does prefer to fight a little bit up close, I feel, but Agni's comfortable at a little bit of a longer range.
I mean, normally water beats out fire if I learned anything
That's
from
very true.
Pokemon, but Agni has more range, so there is some more flexibility to fight that.
The rare exception being that Charizard is obviously very cool, much cooler than Blastoise, but aside from that, yes, you're
More of a Venusaur type of person.
Oh man, you would be. Mercury going to come through for SK. I'm not even going to look at Tolly right now, as a very strong jungler going to come through from Faeles. They're definitely going to put a lot on his shoulders with that pick.
Mercury, we saw what Captain Twig was able to do it in the last set. We'll see what Faeles could be able to do it in the side of SK Gaming.
That's true.
But it's so hard to get in the thick of things now with the Sobek selected. A lot of peels.
Yes.
And then even the Fields of Love for the cripple aspect after Sonic Boom. Good luck getting out of that if you don't have beats.
That's right. Going to make it even worse for this Mercury. That's an excellent point. These last two picks in particular really do feel strong into the Mercury. He hates that disruption. Really wants to be able to weave in and out of the fights very easily. The Cupid going to make that difficult too. Even with the Terra on their side, not going to be an easy task for SK.
No, definitely not an easy task, but they have some great team fight control. Agni, Athena, Terra, that's a lot of lockdown potential,
yeah,
which can also set up a perfect Sonic Boom. So if there's going to be some jungle corridor fights, SK Gaming could easily win that out, but in the lane exception should go to mousesports if they can look for those plucks and look for some more water sprout knockups.
They should have some opportunities. Is that enough to win you over, though, out there in the Mixer chat? Go ahead and let us know what you think. Mouse or SK? Which one of those are you leaning towards? Right now, it's tough to call, but I might go a little bit towards Mouse. What about you here, Totally?
Okay, so Mouse has more damage, I would say, for sure.
Yes, a lot.
But SK Gaming's control is almost unreal.
It's absurd.
If they picked a little bit of a different hunter for a more control aspect, let's say an on-herd, then I would probably give it to them hands down.
See if they can make that one work for them. They do have the Terra, though, which I very much like on the back end. A strong team fighting presence. With the double Guardian, I have to imagine that the Terra is the one going over to the solo, and they'll rely on Athena maybe in the support role. Maybe a little bit up in the air.
There's going to be up in the air. It's a lot of flexibility between those two picks.
That's true. Don't try and predict where SK puts stuff. Good call on that one, totally. Veteran guy right there. That's why I get paid the big gems. Either way, let's get into the action. Mouse up against SK. Game one, Tom and Aggro, take it away.
Thanks a lot, friends. Mouse and SK here. Important for Mouse, as Tolly said. Mouse could technically still secure a trip, so they're going to be trying their darndest. Me and Aggro back at it, and of course, our very favorite Doug on the ones and twos. BigManTingz be playing that mid lane hunter, and of course, FrostiaK, welcome to the team. He's been here for a game or two, and he'll be playing the jungle Hebo.
I like the idea of this composition for Mouse. Normally, what you're lacking in a double hunter composition is, number one, magical damage, and Hebo checks that off the list. AoE damage. Cupid can kind of check that off the list. The lurking in the waters from Nika can check that off. Crushing wave at times. But there isn't a lot of pressure here for mousesports, and that's what concerns me. It's not just in this duo lane. It's in the jungle. Will FrostiaK be able to outclear Faeles? Lawbster is going to have the clear advantage not too far from now up against the Chernobog. But through the early game, BigManTingz should be A-OK. The solo lane, who cares? It's two Guardians. They're just going to team fight anyway. So we'll see what happens, but this could be scary.
Well, it's scary for FrostiaK off the bat. Faeles looking for the first blood, and he's not going to find it, but Lawbster will. The follow-up for the mid lane off of the assist damage from the jungler. Starting this one off hot, SK Gaming.
BigManTingz continued to look for Faeles instead of just turning on the dashless Agni, who just dashed right by him. Lawbster dashed in and didn't really get punished for it as much as I think he could have. Like to see BigManTingz try and keep that focus a little bit more on the character that you know their dash is down for an extended period of time. Faeles' dash was down at the time, but was coming up a little bit sooner.
So with that first blood already dead, you were talking about the pressure or lack thereof from mousesports' composition. I mean, one death does not a game make, but FrostiaK being put down early, that's what you're looking for.
That's the idea. Put the Evo down, certainly with the amount of long-range poke you have with this Agni, makes it a little bit easier. Faeles on this Mercury if he can get off to a really big start. And even if he can't, I mean, look at what Captain Twig did in his game playing as the Mercury. He had a really rough beginning, was what, 0-6, 0-7? and then ended up having a phenomenal late game and still making plays there, even with the patented Twig Bruiser Mercury build that he likes to go for. So hopefully Faeles is able to take some notes and maybe even add a little bit more damage into the comp.
Dardez looking for the aggression. HalfDevil down to about 130.
Man, Cupid, what a god in the duo lane, am I right? That was insane. So much damage and control. Goodness.
I mean, realistically, you can hit multiple players with it. Certainly a nice look.
Yeah. Hunter's Blessing pickup is a little bit weird, though, for Dardez. You kind of want to... You're picking Cupid because he scales really, really well. On his Heart Bomb in particular, but also Fields of Love. Those are the only 2 damage abilities he has, so that's why it's not exactly what you're looking for all the time. But he goes for the Hunter's Blessing, delays his power spike. He does get the Morning Star, so he's still going to be building Transcendence, it looks like, but he is going to delay it by quite a bit. I feel like this is trying to have your cake and eat it too. Like if you're picking Cupid, just rush the Transcendence. That's why you're picking him in the first place. There's no real reason to try and split it.
BigManTingz in trouble in the middle lane. Nice dash. The follow-up damage. The dot's good enough. Lawbster picks up another one. BigManTingz is the victim this time. 2-0-0 for the mid lane Lawbster, and Faeles involved in those 2.
BigManTingz could have just dashed the other way into the wall. It would have removed the dot off of him. He wouldn't have been bleeding off the Path of Flames, and he would have been able to dash further away and live.
BigManTingz has been a bright side for this for this mousesports team for a while, but a little problematic there. Faeles has the ultimate, gonna whiff it, but Cherryo's still in a bad spot. Funball, on the other hand, being chased on down. Wrapped and trapped. Faeles, kill number 3 for SK Gaming.
HalfDevil will be the first notch for mousesports. It's BigManTingz who's able to grab it. That's the power of the Chernobog, man. Even when you misplay it in the mid lane, who cares? You just get to ult back in and fight on that duo side. A little bit of unfortunate timing there for Faeles, with Cherryo dashes out of his ultimate, the perfect timing, but still end up getting the kill.
That's the important part there. mousesports on the board here. Mid laner with the kill. Perhaps a very important person to get the kill, as well, as he's going to be the one that's able to rotate and impact the game perhaps more than others. FrostiaK, wouldn't mind have seen him get the kill. But I think a little bit more push from him in the jungle should get him on track and make that early spill a little bit more ignorable.
He was able to pick up some waves in mid as well, as BigManTingz had backed right away to try and finish off the Devo gauntlets. Also, could have gone Transcendence in the mid lane here. I think Chernobog is one of the better hunters with Transcendence right now. It feels a little bit weird because he doesn't have a whole lot of damaging abilities, but the ones that he has scale incredibly well. It's 160% scaling, if memory serves, on the one because it detonates twice, 80% on both ends, and so you 1-2 somebody, you hit him for 160% of your physical power. That's quite a bit. So Transcendence usually works pretty well on the Chernobog, but it does mean that you are putting your lifesteal in a weird position. Overall, BigManTingz must want that to stay up against the Agni, who is going to look to poke him out a little bit in lane. So I don't mind the idea.
Yeah, ultimately when we see the Transcendence, we used to see the Aussies, but less so these days, and more so Transcendence hunters just forgoing the lifesteal altogether.
Yeah, maybe a late Bloodforge, but other than that.
Faeles geared up in the mid lane. We're going to look for more damage, but now the rotation. BigManTingz using the ultimate. Faeles still on the chase. Has help from Athena. Hiding in the wall, going to avoid the Goomba damage. Ducky up top, Faeles down the bottom. BigManTingz underground. And Ducky's rotation fruitful as the enemy jungler sits down as well. 5 kills in total for SK Gaming, and they've got what seems to be the largest lead of their split.
Feels like it almost. Not quite the case, but it feels like it so far. FrostiaK has not done really anything at all so far. It takes 2 early spills, fails off to a big start, 2-0-2 on one of the best characters to keep leads in the entire game. And Faeles has used his purification beads very aggressively so far this game. First time was when he ganked FrostiaK at level 2 and just quickly was able to use them as a preemptive option to make sure he doesn't get knocked up by Water Spout. Hard on Dardez, but he should be A-okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
And then right there, he just walks right through the crystallized curses, knowing that BigManTingz didn't have a whole lot left after that.
Faeles starting off with the Golden Blade, the old Mercury sword here. So some power, some attack speed, which is always an interesting conversation with Merc. And movement speed, which of course turns into power. Faeles is going to use this to get some AoE damage, not just with his basics, but as always going to mention, Made You Look does count as a basic.
It's huge. And normally, since there was a nerf to Made You Look and how quickly it was going to be clearing your jungle camps not that long ago, Funball going to use the ultimate to make sure he doesn't get hit by the Mez from Fields of Love. Good idea, because Cherryo's follow-up damage likely would have been enough with a dazzling offensive. But yeah, Mercury got nerfed not that long ago on the Made You Look, and Golden Bow, or Golden Blade, excuse me, really does make it. he doesn't even need to auto-attack the big minion anymore on the XP Harpies. You literally just walk around and hit it with the one. It's a pretty low cooldown still, and never even need to slow down at all, which is exactly what Merc wants to do and why he can keep his lead so well. It means that he's clearing your jungle incredibly quickly. I think he just one-shot those mid-Harpies. I mean, it's crazy what Golden Blade does for this character.
Really exclusively this character. I'm interested to see what it does on some Bakasuras and some Arachnes, I suppose, but when it comes down to Merc, he's the one that really utilizes it so much better than the other choices.
Yeah, it's infinitely better on Mercury, and it's just because of the way Made You Look works, where you're basic attacking everybody in that area, so it's compounding off the Golden Blade. And I don't know, I'm not Anatoly, I'm not here to do the math for you, but it hurts. That's my professional analysis.
It certainly does.
It stings.
Certainly does. And Faeles going to be looking to continue that, as he's 2-0-2 at the moment, looking for the enemy jungle. Does have a level lead. Cherryo does not have the same luxury. He'll have to dash out. But now, Faeles just going back into his own jungle. I thought we were going to see a little bit more on that side, but shying away. Thought maybe we would see him attack FrostiaK, but playing it safe. Probably not the bad plan. FrostiaK, only a level down, can still absolutely tussle with Faeles.
Dardez is certainly poking Funball out in this lane. This is where the Cupid resurgence began, was with the Ram resurgence. It was kind of the counter movement against Ram becoming much more popular again in that duo lane. Ram doesn't out-poke very well. He can out-trade, potentially. If you're willing to sit there and throw auto for auto with him, he'll probably end up beating you, because the steroid is excellent, and astral arrows are doing extra damage, slowing you to guarantee the follow-up autos pretty nicely. But if you're just throwing abilities at each other, then Ram won't win that, because he doesn't have abilities that deal extra damage, really. It's a little bit harder for him to do that. So the idea for Cupid is he wants to only trade abilities, and he's going to be able to do so pretty easily with some help.
Cherryo getting taunted here, forced into the ultimate. Going to stay aggressive, finds the Lawbster. No follow-up. In fact, Cherryo's going to be the one followed up on, and the Lawbster, following his own lead, takes down Cherryo. Support player sitting down.
On his left side, Dardez has started to lose this trade, and HalfDevil will secure that one. Funball having a grand old laugh at Dardez's expense. That's exactly what you don't want to see happen to your Cupid, is to lose the lead.
FrostiaK, that's the turnaround. Both players use beads, but FrostiaK has the ultimate available. And Faeles sits down for the first time this game, 2-1-3. As FrostiaK finds his first kill, he's 1-2.
That's huge, and that's what Hebo does for you in the jungle, right? Is that turnaround potential, or especially as soon as he's starting to get low with that Bancroft's Talon, makes him that much more potent in those boxing trades. And Faeles that time, beads were not good enough to save his life. Once Hebo hits level 5, you just can't be that close, because he will probably kill you.
Even at level 4, I mean, the 2 points in Water Hands alone can really be problematic combined with the knock-up, but the ultimate is just the secure feature on the kit for sure. BigManTingz thought he might have been taunted.
Yeah, I don't know why HalfDevil didn't taunt him. I mean, with Lawbster backing up, you understand that there's no way that Tingz is dying, but Tingz might not know that. You're moving his camera around that time. See, look at that. You get the beads and the ultimate. Great ultimate from Faeles is there to follow up, though.
But a nice ultimate coming out from Cherryo as well. FrostiaK takes down Faeles off of the assist from the support. I really like Cherryo's setup there. Faeles goes down to the wayside. 3 kills in total for Mouse.
Just wonder if HalfDevil does taunt him initially. They can't taunt right away because it would have still been on cooldown, I think, though he does have 10% CDR. But then you maybe get that whole CC chain on a BigManTingz, and Faeles doesn't get killed very easily by the Sibo from FrostiaK coming out of the jungle.
Funball getting the Cupid used against him. Well, FrostiaK in some trouble. I just wanted to talk about Hunters, but Ducky's going to say no. Turn around, looking at Cherryo on the left side. Here comes help from the Terra. Bomb stun, not on the mark, but the damage from the Athena and the Terra. Ducky confirms. BigManTingz sits down one more time. Nika with a bad rotation, a little bit late. Might get collapsed on the right side.
Good dash right on time because Lawbster was certainly on the hunt, but now is going to blink in.
What?
No dash available. CC chain is good, but he ends up surviving. Cherryo was en route. An ambitious blink from Nika, but he saves the tier 1.
He does. I don't even... Okay. That was a gutsy call there, Nika.
Yep.
Gutsy call.
Sure was. Partner? I don't know. It just seemed like the right opportunity to drop a partner in there. I should have gone with the D, though, instead of the T.
Partner?
Partner.
Yeesh. I don't know if that's a good look. Cherryo trying to create a good look. That's the combo! But Funball's going to answer back with an ult of his own. Lands and will be on the floor now. Cherryo has the ultimate waiting. And that's a dead Hunter. Again, mousesports take advantage of Funball on this ROM, and the duo lane's going to die as well. Dardez gets the last hit.
Could be Gold Fury here for Mouse. FrostiaK trying his best to steal away the red buff, but unsuccessful. Still very delayed on this pull. BigManTingz has fully stacked Devo gloves. Yes, there is vision here for SK, but you've still got a 4-on-3 at worst. Faeles has that ultimate charge, though. SK able to steal it.
The steal, the snatch. I really thought FrostiaK was going to wake up and clean it up. Oh, my goodness. Mouse slovenly on that pull. FrostiaK was zoning for the moment, and that's fine, but he's your damage dealer. We talk a lot about Mouse's draft being all over the place and being a well-balanced meal, or a well-balanced draft, excuse me. But with places in different positions. And the objective secure, BigManTingz might have it on the crystallized barrage and the 1-2 combo, but FrostiaK absolutely has it, no questions asked, with both the ultimate and, of course, the water cannon. So FrostiaK, yes, he's got a knock-up. Go push out the knock-up and zone. Now it's on cooldown for 12 seconds. Come back to the objective and look for the secure. That's a great job by Faeles and SK with a great heads-up play, but that's also mousesports giving them the opportunity.
I don't disagree with you. You got to trust that someone on your team is going to secure that. I think that they were a little bit too hesitant in pulling it in the first place. And if you're going to wait that long, you may as well have waited around until Nika was there to help out and be your zone.
Cherryo looking for the stun one more time, and Ducky won't take it. Mouse grouping up again. SK, 4K in the lead, 4,000 in the lead. Mousesports trying to fight into this one. Not the easiest lead to fight into, especially when your Hebo is behind. That's all he does is the damage. And if he's not able to really get that damage off, then it's a problem. Right now, down a half level, not a problem yet. But if SK continue to walk in this direction, Ryan, FrostiaK might have really just dropped out of the game.
Very possible. The one thing that he does need to worry about especially is this crit from Faeles, because so far since the first blood, FrostiaK has been able to take these 1v1s up against Faeles. Even with the pre-beads is from Faeles, that he's going to win those just because he's Hebo, and that's what he does. But now that there's crit online for Faeles, these pre-beads, which have been pretty ambitious the last few times, aren't going to get him killed anymore. They might get him kills.
Dardez under the tower trying to save himself. Oh, the taunt. Oh, the taunt. HalfDevil sets up his Hunter. Funball on the good side. Here come the rest of mousesports, though. Mitigation not good enough, and FrostiaK takes down Funball. HalfDevil's next. That one belongs to Cherryo. Now Ducky surrounded by mousesports jerseys. There's the slow. There's the silence. That's all we're going to see. Faeles has the ultimate ready, but I don't know if they're willing to go, and it doesn't look like they are. SK called back their jungler.
Lob is here now, wasn't here for the beginning of this skirmish, so maybe that's the moment that SK needs, but it looks like BigManTingz has been able to escape the mid lane's ire, though. Walks right in, and if Faeles has ult charge, this could be good.
Oh, BigManTingz misses.
Goodbye, Tings. Good Aegis. Goodbye, Tings. No!
Are you sure?
The shell from Cherryo was perfect. Hello, Tings.
That's what I thought. Now Lawbster going to be punished.
Oh, goodbye, Tings.
Goodbye, Tings. I took that from you.
That's all right. I lost my right to it.
I just took that one from you. Oh, man. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. BigManTingz takes forever to die. Baits SK into going a little bit deeper than they had anticipated. Lawbster doesn't fall down, though. The Agni stays alive for now.
Trading Faeles for Tings at this point, though, is probably worthwhile for Mouse, because Faeles has been pretty integral.
For Mouse, yes.
On to what Faeles has been pretty integral for SK's success thus far. Been a part of 7 of the 10 kills for SK Gaming. Plus, he's trying to stack up that rage, so we really need to be on the map to get those assists and kills, so he gets even more crit chance.
And I'm looking at FrostiaK. He was able to now get caught up, level 16, ready to go. Certainly, if I'm mousesports, I'm looking to keep the enemy jungle down for as long as possible. Almost 20 minutes in here, and we have almost that amount of kills. 19 minutes specifically, and 19 kills specifically. SK, the team in double digits here. And they lead by about 4,000 on top of it. Their lead mainly focused in the middle lane.
Yeah.
A little bit on the Hunter, a little bit in the solo.
Lawbster has had a phenomenal game so far on this Agni. Surprise, surprise, he plays Agni well. Stop me if you've heard that one before. This man's been playing Agni since the dawn of time, it's felt like, and still clearly very comfortable on this pick. I do love this Spear of the Magus that he's gone for. It'll up the damage that Ducky's doing, and that damage still very relevant. Ducky second overall in player damage, and it's probably not even stacked up because solo lane slap fight damage, because Sobek and Terra don't even slap fight. They just kind of ignore each other and go on their merry way. So that really tells you that his damage has been relevant so far.
Yeah, you look at Sobek. He's 3,000. He's the last player on the player list.
Yeah.
So Nika and Ducky might have been banging around a little bit, but really not all that much. And like you said, Terra doesn't do damage in that sort of world. Really looking for the team fight push. Ducky getting the proxy farm as well.
Kind of missed the farm part of that, though. That whole wave still alive. I think he got like 2 minions there. You need to combine the monolith there with the crushing walls if you want to clear the wave.
Nika looking for something, pulled in. Thought he was going to go for the flip, but not the case. HalfDevil just burns the taunt, knowing that Nika's looking for the flip, and that might have put him sort of off his original game plan.
Hide of the Urchin done now for Nika, whereas Ducky's still working on his. Ducky instead rushes the Midgardian male because of the 2 hunters on the enemy side. I think a Midgardian male would still do great wonders for Nika or Cherryo or anyone who wants to face tank this Mercury.
Yeah.
In this game for Mouse. I think that Midgardian's a good way to do it. Isn't as good at slowing him as because of his ability to become slow immune, but still pretty good at it.
Mouse got this one stolen from them the last time around. FrostiaK's here. That's what you're supposed to do. Mouse pick up their objective. Now SK looking for the team fight after the fact. Just a little bit, though. Nika gonna poke down Ducky. And that's a retreat.
HalfDevil will use the sprint. I think he was worried about mousesports continuing to push forward, but they let SK go after Gold Fury again for Pyromancer. That's twice now that SK has attempted to make that trade. Well, mousesports has attempted to make that trade, I should say, but ended up this time at least securing their own Gold Fury. Fire Giant pulled by SK, but sniffed out nicely by Mouse.
Even still, they're able to do it. Ultimate coming out from Cupid. Hits a whole bunch of nobodies. SK on the retreat. Not not sure if they really want to commit to this, but with Ducky being thrown in the mix, they kind of have to. Up to the sky goes Funball, looking for the deterrent shots. And here comes the help from HalfDevil. Cherryo surrounded, Ryan. But again, SK find a way out.
3 ultimates committed, though, by SK, and only a couple by Mouse. 2, in fact, by Cherryo and Dardez, respectively. Now, 10% CDR there for Dardez means that his ultimate will be back up fairly soon. 10% for Cherryo, but he had just finished that Spirit Robe, so he only had a fraction of that cooldown beforehand. But Dazzling Offensive, a pretty low cooldown as is. Whereas Funball's going to have to wait that whole duration. HalfDevil has a bit of CDR, and Ducky's got plenty. So really not too big of a deal on either side. I like the idea from SK, kind of check if Mouse is home and ready for that pull, but not necessarily full committing onto it. Funball's been a big fan of those types of Fire Giant pulls forever. He loves to try and sneak away those objectives.
Meanwhile, SK on the other side just PvE and able to take care of the Tier 1 tower, Fire Giant or not. So Funball might like to go for those engagements, but his team likes to go for the easy stuff. And the tower certainly will be one of them. About 3,500 gold, 4,500 gold in the lead so far as SK game. Ooh, tower damage on the other side as well. mousesports looking for the Tier 1. They're going to pick that up easily. And a very small answer back indeed from mousesports.
FrostiaK, 4 items deep, 0 pen so far. So he really cannot even look at Ducky or HalfDevil in this game and expect to kill them. He really needs to be using that blink to get past those frontliners and get his damage onto Faeles and Lawbster and Funball, because his damage to the front line of SK is just not going to be relevant in this game. I would love to see him pick up an Obsidian Shard next. He's going to need it because at some point he will have no choice but to hit frontliners, and it might already be at that point of the game. But if SK is doing a good job of keeping FrostiaK in combat, his effectiveness is way down.
Meanwhile, the right mid-side effectiveness of Cherryo could be questioned. Enough to make SK walk away. So I suppose not. Lawbster with the Soul Reaver. A different item than it once was. Now kind of like magical Chinsai, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great on Agni because it also procs off of his passive. It's great with this build because it still gives you a lot of mana and gives you the opportunity to get more power out of your Book of Thoth. So I think it's a great pickup, should be considered nearly core on Agni. I think that Lob's build so far is near perfect.
Cherryo here trying to make things happen, but he's rooted up by Ducky. And again, just a quick disengage. No real commitment from either team. Players in all sorts of disarray, I think. Nothing really coordinated here, it looks like. Chernobog on the left side with the global ultimate. That might be the one thing that seems to make sense here, Ryan. I see players kind of behind enemy lines.
Trying again.
Just the raw Fire Giant attempt.
Nika's here, so is Dardez, but Nika's got lurking in the waters. It looks like SK is trying to commit, and they get the Fire Giant. HalfDevil pretty isolated, and Dardez able to put him down.
HalfDevil's going to trade his life out. Dardez on the good side. Nika, of course, also looking to back. FrostiaK's going to be sent back the hard way. And Nika, low. Ducky puts him down. Double kill for the solo Terra. And now everyone else in trouble. Faeles going to continue that one. Dardez going to be sent back to the classroom as well. 4 kills for 1. HalfDevil, the only one traded out. And everyone at SK screaming worth.
SK just saying, all right, we're going to do something here. One way or the other, this game is going to get going. And they make it happen. Another Fire Giant pull, a risky commit there for sure for SK Gaming. But the mentality being, if we lose it, we lose it. But we're going to win the fight afterwards. And they certainly did just that. Really good target focus by SK in that one. Nika's decision to blink back in when he could have just backed, gotten to full health, and teleported in. And still been able to impact that fight. Sure, it would have been later, but he blinked in and walked into, he was so low that he walked into Ducky's detonated monolith and got killed from the kick damage. That's like you were 60 HP. That is that level of health.
He got sneezed on. That's really what happened there.
Like a light drizzle just flattened him to the pavement.
I mean, this is SK Gaming playing like they got nothing to lose. Because SK Gaming got nothing to lose. So they're pulling out all the stops. They're going for it. And would you believe it? That's the team that wins the objective.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, the week one of this roster change for mousesports did better than I think a lot of us expected. They took Dignitas to 2 pretty long games.
Yep.
Everyone was like, oh, maybe this roster change is ending up for the better. This is the performance that I think we were all nervous about, where sure, Dardez has top damage, but none of it has been particularly relevant so far in this game. I mean, sure, FrostiaK's 4-3, but hasn't, you know, it's been some good kills, but hasn't been able to make a big impact. Cherryo, I think, has played the best out of the new roles. I'd say I thought he played this game pretty well in support. BigManTingz, a big concern for him coming into this season was the role swap, of course, but right away it was what's the God pool looking like. It seemed a little bit shallow.
Sure.
This Chernobog has not worked out for me, clearly showing a little bit of lack of matchup knowledge with it so far. I haven't been in love with that. So maybe mousesports is able to you know, regroup here and make a defense happen. They've got a good comp to kill you pretty quickly, but their wave clear isn't particularly good. So their siege defense isn't great. And if this doesn't go well for mousesports, I think they can easily just return to the drawing board in game 2 and pick a much more, you know, put BigManTingz on Discordia and we're good. It feels that way.
Yeah, mousesports right now. FrostiaK already low. The Hunter trying to find him. Not going to be able to from the sky. FrostiaK will go back to the base and retry one more time. Ultimate from Dardez trying to keep enemies at bay, and it'll work until Ducky turns on the lights. And now SK looking for the less flame push. The Phoenix still very healthy. Cherryo lining up. 2 players stunned. The follow-up not really there. Now HalfDevil separated from the team. FrostiaK looking for the back line. Here comes Faeles, cutting through Broadway. Down goes the enemy jungler.
What an angle there from Faeles, able to get FrostiaK, but somehow SK don't get the Phoenix, and I don't really know how. I mean, Dardez was nearly killed instantly off of the damage from Ducky and from HalfDevil. Then FrostiaK forced back first. He has to expend Blink.
Right.
Then they nearly killed Dardez. Then they nearly killed BigManTingz. And sure, there's like a lurking in the water in front of them, but if you're able to stand tall through that and just rely on the healing from Ducky's ultimate, then just hit the objective. And it seems like SK was a little bit too focused on what was on all the chaos in front of them and couldn't get the auto attacks in towards the actual objective.
30 minutes on the clock. SK Gaming starting their push on the left side. 4-1 split. HalfDevil the one served up. Nika already relatively low, and Dardez with a good ultimate. Lawbster with one better, taking care of the French Hunter. Now here comes Cherryo looking for the stuns. Won't be able to find him. Faeles finds him. Down goes Cherryo. Down goes Dardez. Down goes the left side Phoenix. And the shift over to the right side, or at least the middle, is on the way.
Faeles sold that Golden Blade for a Titan's Bane and finished off the build with Magi's Cloak and a Bulwark of Hope.
I like that because Golden Blade seems like an early item.
Yeah, it's not great in the later stages, but it still does make your mage look really, really good in the late game. Plus, you're losing the power from the movement speed from it. I don't mind it. Clearly, he's doing enough damage as is. He was able to get the finishing blow on the Cherryo. He's really just there as a disruptor at this point. Lawbster's doing the heavy lifting here. Make no bones about it. 28k player damage for this man on the Agni, and frankly, no one else is even close so far. So one person was within 10k of his damage so far. So Faeles just needs to get the effective damage off. He needs to be able to finish off the people that are out of Lawbster's reach when Funball's ultimate is down. And he needs to be able to split push towers in these Phoenixes, and Titan's Bane helps him do that. So I think I really like the Titan's Bane pickup.
Certainly going to assist there. We'll see if it assists in the kills. 17-10. SK Gaming certainly have a couple of the kills. I like mousesports' composition with respect to defense. Lurking in the Waters and Fields of Love, 2 of my favorite defensive abilities. It's just going to take over the entirety of the Phoenix. but we haven't really seen a capitalization on those abilities.
I don't know, man. Fields of Love at this point in the game, like the chances it actually hits anybody and does anything is really low because HalfDevil just needs a safe sprint for it.
Right.
It's pretty simple. And then not only are you negating an entire ultimate from the Cupid, but your team's also faster.
Right.
And they have the haste effect on top of that because it's upgraded sprint. It's a big reason why like I just don't think that Cupid is really very good right now. The cripple's great here, sure, but sprint will just be ready for it if HalfDevil's playing it right.
What was nice was in lane, every time Dardez ults, Funball has to.
Yes.
And that's exclusive to lane. Because when it happens in the team fight, Funball's not complaining. There might be a spot where he wishes he had saved that ultimate for safety, but it's not a downside. If you are forced to do your Rama ult, it's not that big of a deal.
HalfDevil off the mark with another taunt. That's at least 3 this game that I've seen. He's definitely got to clean that up.
There's the ultimate from the Cupid. Cherryo on the run. Now very low. Who did the damage? BigManTingz is going to come over from the middle lane. Fails on the hunt as well. Has the ultimate. Cuts right through. Cherryo low. Cherryo gone. Fails in trouble though. He's going to get blinked on by FrostiaK. Ultimate finds Funball. Taunt and Lawbster kicks him to the curb. FrostiaK sits down for a minute.
And again, the focus there is on the Funball from everybody on mousesports, but it's Lawbster who's doing the majority of this player damage. Now, I guess they're worried about Funball because of the objective damage that the Rama will provide, specifically to the Phoenixes, but still, Lob, pretty safe, still has that Aegis available, and there's 30-plus seconds on this respawn for Mouse.
Here comes the push. SK Gaming right into the Titan. Uh-oh. This is just the all-on onslaught with only 3 members to play defense. Ducky and Faeles going to cut it down to 1. Dardez is up, but the Titan is down. Blackjack 21 for SK Gaming. And 34 minutes of play. This goes to SK.
I think it looked pretty easy, and it's basically all in the mid lane. That's where that game began and ended. Now, people came in and made different impacts. I think that Ducky's rotations in were phenomenal. Ducky played really, really well that game. You're asking what did all that damage onto right Phoenix. That was Ducky's ult being detonated by Lawbster that did that much to the opposition. So that Terra was great. He made a really good rotation into mid, but Lawbster kept a huge lead all game long. Like I said, I really think that Mouse needs to change up their picks and bans into game 2.
Who is the MVP? That's the question we're going to ask you guys at home. For me, I'm looking at Ducky and Faeles. These are the 2 guys that really lit up the Christmas tree for me. Everybody really played well. And, of course, I'm remiss if I don't mention Lawbster. Got to mention the mid laner there.
Yeah, I think it's between Ducky and Lawbster for me. Faeles did a lot of good work in setting up Lawbster in the early game, but then Lob was able to continue that and really stay safe during the game, whereas Faeles played very aggressively, but also took a couple too many spills.
Well, it's a tight one. SK Gaming take this one, just game 1. We still have another one on the docket. Let's see what the desk thinks.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Ryan, Finch, and Anatoly here as SK Gaming find the Game 1 victory and a chance for a set victory. SK Gaming have not had one. It's been a rough road for them. A chance right now to see if they can grab it here up against Mouse.
They haven't found a single victory until week number 1 up against Obey Alliance. And now they finally found one again, but this time it's against mousesports. The question is, can they get this momentum rolling to finish this off and get their first set victory in Season 5 Fall Split?
It's absolutely something they can build off of. Ducky had an excellent performance on that Terra. I don't want that to go unnoted, but Lawbster, man, was making that difference for them on this Agni. The damage was unchecked, especially in that last fight. You heard them talking about it towards the end, proccing that Earth and Fury off Ducky, those actual stones that are on his opposition out there for a bunch of extra damage, remaining safe as well. Just a huge game.
We were kind of like half joking about, you know, the water versus fire, but the range from Agni's bombs is superior to what FrostiaK was being able to bring to the table on the Habwa, and the combination of that Earth and Fury just swinging team fights so favorably for SK Gaming to find this first victory. I really love Lawbster's performance in this first game.
And it does kind of make you wonder, you know, if they were getting that same impact out from Tings on the side of Mouse in this game 1. It kind of felt like they weren't, and Lawbster was a little bit too far out of control, at least for them here, Tully.
I agree. I'm not a big fan of mousesports drafts in general, but this time around it's even worse, specifically because Big Man not playing his traditional mages. Even though he does play warriors from time to time, whether it's the Shock or otherwise, it could work for mousesports. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Hunter is where it needs to be here, especially when you don't have a Fafnir to coerce both the Cupid and the Chernobog.
And it just didn't end up working out for them, at least not in that case. We'll see if they can make it work for it, but I think SK can build off of this Game 1 victory because they've got to find another game here somewhere if they want to be able to try and find a victory on it. They can certainly build off the performance that they had from Lawbster. Faeles as well, I thought looked much better than we've seen from them lately. But really, and you know what, Mixer Chad, you won me over on this one. Ducky was the one that had the strong performance for it. They put it down as the MVP in Mixer Chat, and he really was getting it done, bringing damage, bringing control, not dying. What an excellent performance.
Just a good late game performance, being able to transition. That's why you kind of stick the Terra in that solo lane, kind of like a crockpot, right? Like before you go to work, you put some food in there, and then you come home, dinner's ready, and that's exactly what happened for SK Gaming's Ducky, controlling team fights.
And he was able to perform even a little bit earlier on as well, but he was one that definitely put an end to it with the control that he provided, and that's what I think really had Lawbster looking so strong as well, right? Those roots, those long-range stuns coming out from Ducky, setting up for Lawbster to find the shots. There definitely has to be some improvements, I think, from Mouse